guys, this is Carrie. You're watching A Crone's Life. Today, this is not a special video. This is just kind of like a public service announcement. It's no big deal, but I've been working with this deck and I just feel like I need to tell you guys about it because we often let videos slip through the cracks with our algorithms and everything else. I saw a video of Maureen at Waves of Your Soul, and I can't tell you how long ago it was, but she mentioned that she uses a board game set of cards for her oracle deck, and it's called Dixit. Positive that I've seen it on other people's channels as well. I believe Candy at Soul and Soil, Candy Soul and Soil, I believe she uses it also, or she used to. And so ages ago, I made myself a little wonky bag. Look, the button is off center. Anyway, ages ago, I bought this deck. And it's really, like I said, it's just a game. It's not originally meant to be an oracle. I did not use it right away because the backs are really ugly and it was, I don't know, daunting, I guess is the word. I just felt like it needed work and I needed work and we weren't in the right place at the right time. I use this as a learning tool, how to do backs. I will show you the back that it had originally. I'm pretty sure I've already put up the picture, but I bought this contact paper on Amazon and it's really inexpensive and it's really thin too, which is what I wanted because I don't want to add a whole lot of thickness to the card. And in the process of backing it, it's simpler to cut the card along with the backing so that they're the same, so that it's flush against the card, so they have the same edge. And then I took furniture, like a permanent furniture marker, and I did mahogany on the edges, and I really like the way it turned out. It's got some spots where it's not as dark, but it just looks like it's supposed to be that way, so I'm happy with it. It did bleed into the card, which again, it's got this really weird texture. My light is a little too bright. It's got this really weird texture that the ink took on as it came in on the card, and so again, it kind of just looks like it's supposed to be that way. This one's the worst, and this one's the worst in a way that it doesn't really seem like it should be like that. I love my light, right? Maybe if I turned it off, but I really think it's too dark without it. Yeah, it's unpleasant to have it this dark, but this one is the worst one, and I don't really mind. With most ink alterations that you've done, you can erase, but this one is one, I guess because it's the furniture ink, it's not really erasable. But to get to the point, I have started using this deck because sometimes you just have to make yourself put it in rotation, put cards or decks in rotation, and you just have to do it. You have to make yourself do it, and I did, and now I'm addicted. I love this. This blows me away. Like, what does this deck do? It communicates with me like all my decks do. All my decks give me inspiration for the thoughts, the story that I need to tell myself. They put me in a direction that helps me find what I need either to do or messages to receive in other places of my life. This deck I think it's because it doesn't have any keywords or anything written on it. And I had considered putting keywords on everything. I'd actually considered to make my own guidebook because I feel really uncomfortable. Like maybe I'm less secure with my abilities to read than I should be. And I thought I needed some consistency of interpretation. But I think that's the reason why this talks to me the way it does. It's more conversational. That's what I was trying to say. So my other decks will talk to me and they answer questions and they lead me in the right direction. This deck is conversational. Like when I'm asking a question, it doesn't just say, you know, go to your inner child, but it gives you all these clues and you have this little conversation. You have this dialogue with each card for each question, and it's different every single time because it's a different question, it's a different moment, it's different every time. And I was really taken aback because the experience that I have with decks is mystical and wonderful, magical, and I'm not very good at teaching people how to use tarot. I always send them to someone else to learn how to read or to, this one's been popping up a lot, to learn how to read or to learn how to tap into their the inner dialogue that you get with tarot. I'm still a learner myself. I don't want to tell someone how to interpret anything, but with this deck, I feel like you don't need to be taught how to do anything. You just open your mind to what your question was and to the image on the card, and to me it just flows and I'm amazed. I would say if anyone had trouble reading tarot cards because they're not letting their intuition flow, that this would be a fantastic deck to incorporate into your spreads so that maybe you trust yourself a little bit more with the images and the conversation that you have with your cards. I'm considering getting another deck, although I don't know that I need one. This one is pretty darn perfect. I don't have all the cards in this one because I had to sacrifice a couple of cards while I was trying to trying to get the modification correct. So there's a couple of cards that didn't get in the final batch. But I am addicted to Dixit, and I didn't think it was going to work for me, to be honest with you, because I felt like I wasn't intuitive enough. But what I learned was that it brings that out. Like, I really do want more decks. I just feel like the artwork is amazing. But this is a really chunky deck. Like, I think there's 80 cards in this. I could check. Yeah. So there's 84 cards. I took 2 out when I was modifying the deck, and so there's 82 cards left. But I would have never bought this if it weren't for Maureen. Like, she showed the images. I can't remember which expansion pack she has. This one is Daydreams. I would like to get Revelations. I did not buy the whole board game. The whole board game isn't any different in the price, I think. I mean, it might be $5 to $10 more, maybe. But for an oracle, like a mass market oracle, this is on par for any mass market oracle you would get. There's a lot more work that I put into it to make it usable for myself, but it's $30 for the expansion. You get 84 cards. I believe every expansion's the same size. Pretty sure. They all have different artwork. Some of them have different artists. So, like I said, this one is Daydreams. Revelations has a different artist. There's Quest, there's Origins. You know, if you bought the big set, there's a Disney one, which I'm very tempted, the whole board game, to get the Disney. Anyway, oh my gosh. So to break it down, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to tell you that if you struggle with your intuition, if you struggle looking at cards and feeling their meaning, hearing their conversation with you, trying to tell you something, it might be helpful to have cards like this to, you know, no words, no guidebook, nothing to influence the way your mind interprets the image. It might be helpful to have something like this and just, I would personally just incorporate it into spreads, like choose it as the first card, like the theme of the spread, the overall mood of the spread. Or, you know, I wouldn't use it as a significator, just because, you know, anything that has already been said might influence the way I would use it first. That's just me personally. Okay, so I would incorporate this into your spreads and see how it talks to you. And maybe that might open up your mind to the other cards that you're using that you feel a little blocked with. I can't say enough good things about this, and I give Maureen 100% of the credit, because I would have never bought this. I would have never tried this if it weren't for her just telling about it and showing her deck that she has. And the backs really are terrible. I do have one other oracle. In fact, I'm just going to touch on it because it is very similar. I have one other oracle that does not have keywords. It doesn't have a guidebook in the traditional sense. And this is by Ray Serafina Barker. I follow her on Instagram, and she sends me newsletters, and I really love her work in general. The guidebook is not going to tell you what each card means. The guidebook is going to tell you what the symbols in the cards mean, and then that gives you freedom to, so these are the backs, just to let you know. That gives you the freedom to interpret everything the way you would, in the same way that the other deck I was explaining. It frees up your mind to interpret, to have a conversation without the restrictions of a guidebook or you know, preconceived notions like the meanings of particular cards. So this deck and the Dixit are very similar, and not in the artwork. Obviously, this is way different, but very similar in the way that it's open interpretation. And I think it's pretty awesome to just give yourself that freedom, you know, that freedom to feel the meaning and not be told the meaning. So And I believe this is a little bit more expensive. This one might be $45 for this deck. There's a lot of cards in this one too. And it's got the gold sides. I mean, it's just beautiful, gorgeous cardstock. It has beautiful backs. It has the gold edges. It's the perfect size because it's big and you can see everything in it. But no words and no real guidebook. So yeah, these two are similar in that respect. I've obviously turned things upside down. Okay. Highly recommend this type of activity for you. I feel like there are a lot of tarot users who are struggling with the constraints of their current system. I feel like there's a lot of people who talk about breaking out, doing something different, shaking up their routine, making sure that they don't get stagnant in their learning or their self-improvement techniques. And, you know, just a suggestion, just a thought, maybe something like this would shake things up a little bit. Break that wall, get you outside the box. Maybe it would just... And I'm not telling you to go out and buy a deck. I'm sorry. I sound like I'm trying to sell a deck. That's not true. I'm trying to sell a tactic, a tool that you can do this with anything, I believe, as long as you haven't given yourself, like, if you don't have any preconceived notions as to what something means before you start interpreting. I believe you could do this with anything. I'm showing you the things that have impressed me, but and the truth of the matter is you could use anything that doesn't have keywords on it. Fresh to you. So that's my thought. I don't know. I have thoughts. I just kind of wanted to throw it out there. And I wanted to reiterate to people who have never heard of Dixit, I wanted to give everybody a chance to think about card games. Think outside the box with Oracle decks. It doesn't have to be an Oracle deck. It can be a game. It can be flashcards. It can be a memory game. It can be anything that that pulls on your soul, that talks to you specifically, talks to you and gets you interested in the images. So just a thought, just a little PSA. Hey, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. And I hope this isn't too rambly, and I hope I make any kind of sense at all. All right, guys, see you later.